Let me give you a moment on the election. I saw this and I thought it was actually a fairly good take. Albert, play a little bit of Melber on MS or CNBC or one of those NBC networks. I thought this was good. It's only a couple of minutes, and it kind of walks you through, I don't think it's even 2 minutes, it kind of walks you through the absurdity and yet the obvious nature of a lot of what's going on the MAGA right. Go ahead, Albert.
The Republicans trolling the vote, and also sort of the depth in which some of these beliefs are being held that are not true about voters' problems with the voting process in these states, in these different districts. What do you predict, or what do you see happening on Election Day or playing out, especially in some of these hotly contested states, down on the ground?
Well, just first of all, if you're really winning, you don't have to cheat. If you're really confident that you're going to win outright on election night, you don't have to spend all this time and energy with a pre-buttal set of lies about why everything's rigged. If you're playing well, you're not talking about the refs. Mm-hmm. So first, we're still 6 days out with the politics. The politics are questionable for any hard right MAGA Republican types who are this obsessed with telling you in advance two things that are contradictory, like so much of Trump message. They claim they're up. They talk about things like betting markets that have no predictive value. They try to psych everyone out like they did in the midterms red fizzle, while they also say, and even though we're up and we're going to win, also we're so clearly concerned about all of these alleged irregularities. So that's just a political tell. As for how it's going to go down, we've all seen the tight polling in every way you can measure it. And so there's a world where this is tight and takes a long time to get resolved, like last cycle. And there's a world where everyone exhausts their legal remedies. There's also a world where somebody, either side, wins by 3, 4, 5 states. And I think in that environment, nothing in the law, nothing in the precedent, even this right-leaning Supreme Court has ever shown an interest in taking a result that's got a 3 or 4 or 5 state lead and hearing anything, let alone reversing that. And so I think there's a lot of understandable angst out there. If it's a decisive outcome, I don't think there's anything in the courts.
During a rally for Vice President Harris and
Albert. I like that take because it really spoke to both the potential that there could really be a dominant victory by either side. Everything's within the margin of error, as we know. It's also close. It's hard to imagine a dominant victory. On the other hand, in these winner-take-all states, you can see it as a real possibility. And I also just thought that was a decent summary of where we are in terms of the clear strategies of the right, meaning you claim victory and you have essentially disinformation and propaganda, if you will, associated with the election itself. So that can be your high ground if things don't look like you're going your way. It's fixed. It was always fixed. We told you it was fixed, even as we tell you we're way ahead. I mean, it's a weird cognitive dissonance and a cross current of information. Put the Bannon stuff, just a quick hint of what Bannon, because he sort of said the same thing. He was questioned about, he just got out of prison, right? And so he was questioned about, what are you going to do? Haven't you said on Election Day, what are you going to do in relation to the election? Haven't you said on Election Day that you're going to declare victory? Haven't you already articulated this is your strategy, that you're going to declare victory early on when you have sort of the red mirage, as it's called, right? The early Republican voting that would seem to favor Donald Trump. You're going to have Trump come on, declare victory, just as he's tried. The same playbook has been employed before, but they have tweaked it slightly. And that way, when the mail-in ballots are then counted, as the counting continues, and Harris takes the lead, he can say, well, you can see it was fixed. I mean, it's so absurd, but it's also so credible as a strategy. Play a little bit of his press conference, if you would. Here's Bannon.
Came up at 2:30 in the morning and talked. He should have done it at 11 o'clock at night in 2020. Okay?
He's talking about Trump.
I am urging President.
He's saying he came out at 2:30 in the morning. He should have come out even earlier and declared victory. This guy's unapologetic about his plan. So I'm urging President Trump, he was saying. Go ahead, Albert.
Trump. If the votes come in like it looks like they're going to come in, he should step up and inform the American citizens of exactly what's going on and not keep people in the dark like was done in 2020. So President Trump should step up and walk people through state by state of where these leads are and how these leads came about. We're not prepared. We're not prepared to have in the dark of night all the problems that happened last time. Okay. The 2020 election was stolen.
There
Okay, I
were
will
no
never
problems
back on
last
that.
time. There were no problems last time. This is an absolute false narrative. It's a fraudulent narrative. There were no problems last time. The problem was you guys lost, and then you said there were problems. You said you had all this evidence of voter fraud. You went to 60 courts. You couldn't show any evidence of it. I mean, the whole Rudy Giuliani and Mr. MyPillow maintaining that I've got evidence, look at all this evidence, and the judges would say, well, great, let's see the evidence. Show me some evidence. And there was none. That whole strategy was a big meh, but the idea was to create doubt and somehow create a movement, which it did, animate a movement, and animate that movement toward overthrowing the result, which we saw, right? You saw a legal challenge, which I've just alluded to, but then even greater legal challenge by replacing the Attorney General at the Justice Department, a request on the part of Donald Trump to ask that Attorney General to say, hey, I need you to please say, although I doubt he said please, that there are problems with this election and we're looking into it. And even if there weren't, I just need you to make that statement. So that was another way they were going, right? They wanted to throw enough doubt around the election and the election results. And then ultimately they went to the ellipse and they tried to overthrow the certification of the election. It's all a smokescreen, and they're planning on stealing the election in the House with the votes on the not the presidential votes. I see. Yeah, they want to go right to the House, not even worried about who the actual votes for president from the people. They're trying to get it to the House. Yeah, that's clear. Bannon is a dangerous character. It is true. Bannon speaks in the doublespeak of politics. He speaks in the doublespeak of sedition, and he's scary. There's no question about it. He is not a stupid man. And so Bannon looks like if Mark Thompson wasn't successful or vegan. I think Steve Bannon is pretty successful. I mean, I don't know how you judge success, but I would say two things about just Bannon. One is related to his look. I think prison actually did him good. He looks good after a few months of prison. He looks better, I should say. And second, I think he's got a lot of money. So if you know, in this culture that sort of evaluates how successful you are based on money, I think he's doing okay. Rosie, you know, the prison let this guy teach civics. Talk about indoctrination. That's what Kim and I were saying off the air. We're saying, oh, here he is teaching civics. Isn't that sweet? Not really.
No.
He's teaching his own MAGA civics.
It's not the class you want to enroll in. No.
Yeah. It's he knows that's a lie, and a lot of supporters know it's a lie. All they care about is winning by any means, says James. Yeah. And this is interesting, too. Spencer with a super chat. Spencer Jaffe says, Bannon is dead weight. He's not helping Trump. And look, we live in a place where we just sort of see threats everywhere. And I just told you that I think Bannon speaks in that doublespeak, and he could be a legitimately scary character in how this election plays out. But to be fair to the position that Spencer's articulating, he's also a divisive figure. And it's possible that people see Steve Bannon and they go, yeah, I don't want to play this song again. We played it already. But it's also weird to me that our memories have evaporated. The public memory of Trump and the chaos of a Trump administration has evaporated to the point that we can have this election so very close.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.